Okay, I'm going to get the thank yous out of the way first because that's not really what I want to talk about, and actually most people I want to thank are not in this room. So I'd rather just kind of say it to them, I think, than stand here and say it to the camera. I am going to say thank you though to, I guess just guild staff in general. I think people don't really realise just how, I think understaffed they are, the amount of work they do, the amount of hours they put in. So without going through and naming masses of individuals, pretty much you name a department, they're probably understaffed, they're probably doing a massive amount of work, and their dedication is something that I've continually been thankful for and impressed with. I'm not going to go through the SAB team either. I think I'll say little bits to probably each of you before I go. I just want to mention Tom, who's not here, which is really sad, because I think he's been absolutely amazing. When I came in here, I think I was incredibly glad to have him as someone who's here with me. And I think both of us, the guild has taken its toll on both of us this year. And I think having someone else in the guild who kind of understands the position you're in, no matter how many friends I could talk to about how difficult it was being a SAB, not many of them really understood. And so having someone where you could kind of have that and sometimes sit in your office and cry with them, which did happen, is quite necessary. And there's just one thing that I want to say about one officer, and it's Jethro, in that I kind of came into the guild and I think I was like, oh God, it's another VP welfare that's a white man who doesn't belong to any liberation groups. I was quite worried and wary, and I thought that maybe we'd be the ones to get on least, and would disagree the most on things. And I've actually said that I think that's the kind of the opposite is true, in that I've been continually been impressed with just how seriously you've taken liberation stuff, and that I think that we actually have a really good relationship despite the fact that we do disagree on things. And I think you've always been pretty fair. And I have to say I'm really, really happy you're not joining the police. And if that has had a smidgen to do with me, then that makes me absolutely ecstatic. But yeah, I just wanted to say that. But I will thank everyone else in personal different things. I also haven't written a speech really. This is literally stuff I scribbled down during most of the Bitcoin motion. Sorry, I just wasn't really my area. And so I just wrote that then. The main reason for that is because I'm actually going through a disciplinary tomorrow. The university is putting me through 3 days of a disciplinary hearing where I have no legal representation, where the actual punishments could go up to expulsion. And I'm doing this with Simon Kelly, who you'll know from sitting over there and speaking a lot. This is all related back, going all the way back 6 months. And I think this is kind of characteristic of this year and the way that I've seen it. So, to run you through my year, in my head, the first big event in my year was the occupation in November, that lasted for a week, which I chose to take part in, which I thought basically hundreds of students were involved at various points. It got everyone on campus talking. And I think it really kicked off what was this national student movement surrounding education issues, which we hadn't seen since 2010. So I'm actually immensely proud to have been part of that. However, I did get taken to court by the university, and me and Simon had to go to court and face £25,000 each in legal costs, which wasn't particularly fun. Luckily that didn't actually happen, but I'm now banned from occupying anywhere on campus under threat of arrest, imprisonment, and having my assets seized. So I'd like to see them come and try and seize the non-existent assets I have. The university disciplinary has rumbled on since then, so that's been 6 months going on. I've also been under disciplinary action from the guild as well, and that is a result of a complaint made by a senior member of the university about my conduct in the occupation. So I've had kind of 2 of those things rumbling over my head throughout all of this. Then the 29th of January happened, and I was in a kettle for 3 hours, and I watched many of my friends be arrested for simply asserting their right to not have to give their name. They were subsequently suspended, and I spent a lot of time dealing with the consequences of that for them on a personal level, dealing with that within the guild, whereas the fallout in the guild was not particularly pleasant either, and we actually had to bring a debate within this own chamber for the guild even to support these students in fighting these suspensions. And then finally, the suspensions did go overturned, and I think that was a really big victory for everyone who's involved with that. And then I thought that maybe this is it. Maybe time in the guild would kind of be uncontroversial for now, and all of these things. And it wasn't. Then we had the trustee board, and then that happened. And I then was involved in the No campaign for the referendum as well. And that kind of brings us back to the present day. So there's kind of been no point since November, a time in the guild where I haven't been involved in some kind of scandal, I suppose. And I guess kind of a lot of what people would take from this is that maybe I regret some of these things, and maybe I'm thinking back, I would have liked my life to be quite a bit easier. I wouldn't have been so stressed. Maybe my mental health wouldn't have suffered so much. But actually I'm going to say exactly the opposite. The things that I actually regret most is not doing things that I believed in. Maybe not being as radical as I wanted to be, constantly having to temper what I thought or bite my tongue and things like that. And if I could go back to the beginning, would I have done things differently? Yes. Would I have still gone to that occupation? 100%. Would I have still attended the 29th? Definitely. Would I have leaked things from the trustee board? Absolutely. None of this has made my life easy, but at all times, I think it's the right thing to do. And what I want to take is I'm not telling people here that they should go into occupations and things like that, although I'd love you to. If anyone wants to, then just let me know. But what I am saying is that I think what's most detrimental to people's actual kind of faith in themselves, their kind of confidence in what they're doing, is when they actually make decisions that they kind of don't agree with in principle, when they're following things that they don't actually feel to be right and to be true. So what I would say is that basically try and follow that. Think about what you believe in, and actually do that. And even if it isn't the easiest thing to do, then you should still do that. I think it's easy in this job to be really sucked into bureaucracy. You could quite happily kind of come into this job as a guild, and you'll get given tasks all the time. I would always get emails from Student Voice, from members of the university, always asking me to do things. And sometimes these are very good things, very necessary things. Sometimes they're things that I think, actually, I'd rather not be doing this. But you could quite easily sit there your entire sabbatical time and just do things that other people expect of you. And I think that's where, sabbatical officers have to be really, firm and asserting that, no, I stood for a reason, this is what I want to achieve in this year. And sometimes you actually do have to fight the bureaucracy, and it's something I think I failed at massively this year. And I think my problem is that I'm one of those people who, I want to say yes to things, I want to help people, and to say no, actually, I'm not going to do this task is a hard thing to do. But I think it's something that is fundamental if you actually want to achieve everything you want to achieve in your year. So that's kind of what I would say to new sabbatical officers. And yeah, just the emphasis that the right decisions are not always the easy decisions. And I've been guilty at times throughout the year of taking easy decisions and not right decisions. And I think that's something that I've learned from this year. And I think that's actually the thing that's caused me most stress is not, is feeling that I was going against things I believed in. What I would say is that people criticise kind of the left and I guess left-wing SABs quite a lot of the time. For kind of taking part in these kinds of actions, of having a political programme, of being too radical. But we actually do, I think what's consistently shown is that left-wing SABs do have the courage to do things which might get them into trouble. And that they're not afraid to take those kinds of decisions. And I think that's potentially the problem, with if you get elected on a basis of maybe just wanting to be a sabbatical officer, than wanting to change certain things and wanting to, do what's right in whatever area. If you don't kind of have maybe a kind of set of principles in your head, which I'm not saying is the case with any particular sabbatical officer. I just think it's something that's endemic within the student movement for a lot of the places. And it's also the thing of I don't think that anything I've done this year is really done me any favours in terms of future employment. Google searches are not going to turn up great, I don't think. But that's because that's not something that's been in my head the entire time, and that has allowed me the freedom to to do things which won't look good in the CV, but are fundamentally right things to do in my head. So what I will say is that we don't have you don't have sabbatical offers from Defender Education this year, and some people might cheer that. But like, I think it is then imperative that people like understand that the SABs that are there, I don't want it to be to kind of it be stopped, that they will not kind of reveal things. Like, so for example, like the people who leaked the stuff from the trustee board was me and Tom, and I think one of the best things about Guild Council this year was people's reaction to that. Like, it really united people kind of across the board in Guild Council, and it was a pleasure to work with people on the No campaign, people that I would never normally work with, people I'd normally be shouting across the chamber at, but who all understood the fundamental importance of Guild democracy. So I think that that was like a really positive thing that would never have happened if someone didn't make that difficult decision. So basically, yeah, again, it comes back to like making difficult decisions rather than easy decisions, I suppose. And in that No campaign, I think I saw the seeds of what is a genuinely kind of unified, like cross-political campaign about reforming the Guild, about bringing in more democratic control. And like, I really want this to continue. So I think that the general meeting campaign can be hugely exciting next year. And I really hope to see people from across this chamber campaigning to make that general meeting happen, even if you don't agree with everything that's in it, even if you want to stand up there and say, I don't agree with this and this is terrible. I still think that hopefully this is something that can really like unify us, and I think it'll only work if it does have this kind of cross-campus support. And I'm not going on too much longer, so I just want to say, like, to the new SABs, stay true to your beliefs. Don't get sucked into the bureaucracy. Like, say no if you don't think it's something which is absolutely essential. And try to make the right decisions, not the easy ones, even if it might be to your own personal detriment. And to Guild Council, I just say that like, don't trust the Guild to do things on your behalf. I think we've seen a lot of the time this year. Like, I'm speaking just from an administrative point of view. SABs are really busy people. If you get the mandates, they probably aren't going to care about as much as you do. So I think like you people should really take it upon themselves, not only to push the Guild to do the right things, but to go out and do the right things themselves, and want kind of try and make the change happen that they want to see, not just by standing in this chamber and debating, but by going out and like doing it for themselves. I think you should demand a lot from your SABs. I think you should demand a lot from your trustees. Obviously, it has to be done in the right way. I think just like as Molly says about mental health is like a massive factor for all sabbatical officers. But it is incredibly important that we are held to account, and I think that that's why the censure system and stuff is such an important thing to be preserved. Make sure that, and I think that's one of the best things about these chambers is that we really do hold our sabbatical officers to account, and that's a really positive thing. And I would say the same thing with the trustee board. Hopefully people have realised this year that the trustee board can be a force for negativity, and I guess it can do bad things. I want people to keep that kind of in their minds and make sure that this kind of doesn't just get forgotten in ether as we get into a new term, and that people are still focused on trying to kind of change that. I hope Guild Council will have learned all the lessons from this year, and I just urge everyone to get involved in kind of the general meeting campaign and in reforming the Guild to make it more democratic, more accountable. And most of all, I look forward to sitting on this side of the chamber again, and shouting with you, for you, at you, all the time. But no, seriously, it's been interesting to sit on this side of the council, this side, and it's given me a lot of perspective. But that's the fun side, and I can't wait to be back there and be with all of you guys and having heated, but obviously hopefully quite polite and wholesome debates. Thank you so much for this year. You've made it tough, and I thank you for that.